Well, hello and welcome to Knife Delights. Here on the table today, we have us a Kabar. That's right, Kabar, Cleveland, Ohio, model 1605, and it is a small lockback. And check it out, and I believe that is what they call ivory micarta. Just doing a little bit of research on it. Looks like there's a little small crack right there. Other than that, the knife is in pretty good condition. We got jimping there. And look at that. Don't see any blade wobble there. It's got a half stop. It's pretty clean. So what I just thought we'd do here is I want to just polish on it here just a little bit. And I'll look up some more information on, I believe it was Cole National that owned Kabar at the time when they were in Cleveland, Ohio. The other significant thing is this one was made in Hong Kong. And there's other models of this one that was where the knife was actually made in Japan. So I don't know which came first, the Japanese versions or the Hong Kong versions. I'll try to do some checking on that and see if I can come up with something. But I think this little gem here is going to clean up just very nice. I've cleaned up several of these little small lockbacks lately. Some of them from Pakistan. But it is just amazing at how many companies made a small lockback. That Buck 110 design was really copied a lot, wasn't it? The blade's chewed up just a little bit. It's been used. And I'm just using some rubbing compound here to start getting it clean. It's not meant to polish, but it is meant to clean it. Although it does help shine it some. Okay, the back spring on this looks pretty good. And we've got brass liners in there. If I do any polishing there at all, I'll probably be by hand, or maybe even a little sandpaper. I do not want to risk. Well, wait a minute. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find. Oh, here's one of the conical ones. Let me just switch gears here, put that in there. It's a little bit more precise. You just never want to hit the covers with the Dremel going. Let's see if we can't clean it off back here just a little bit. That brass looks just a little dirty, the brass liners. Okay, that's not all I want to do that way. We cleaned off those liners just a little bit there, didn't we? Okay, we look down in here. It looks pretty clean down in there. Get some more patches. And we'll just check it out. Let me see here. Get our good old trusty emery board. Yeah, she's pretty clean. However, you can see the tops of those brass liners. They're just a little dirty. Let me see. What's the best way here? I got some... this should be 2500 grit. Yep, sandpaper. I'll just see if I can't bend it over just slightly. That ain't gonna work. Yeah, I just don't want to do that. Let's try a little rubbing compound on the patch and use our stick here. See if we can clean them off a little bit that way. No. Well, got a little bit of that stuff off of there. The problem is it seems like the line was just beneath the micarta, so it's hard to get down in there. Let me think on that for a little bit, and we'll see what we can come up with. Okay, let's have us a look-see. Oh, there's a little bit of sediment on the bottom, but it looks pretty clean, don't it? So I just used some warm water and some Dawn dishwashing liquid. We can see it's getting some particles of stuff out of there. Some of that might be from the sandpaper, and some of the rubbing compound that's come off of it. But it looks pretty clean overall, doesn't it? Turn that off and set it back out of the way just a little bit. So I'm going to wipe the water off. Try to dry it off the best I can here. As you can see, I made progress on those brass liners. There's two spots on each side of the back spring down there, and it's set down in there, and it's hard to get down in there without touching the covers. But I removed a lot of stuff there. And look at the brass liners here. Same problem. It's hard to get to the brass without touching the micarta. But I did get rid of a bunch of that. Down inside the well and everything, it's all very clean. All very, very clean. Looks like I got a little bit of stuff I got to dig out of there, and then I'm going to throw it in the mineral oil. All right, out of the mineral oil and all wiped off. Let's just see if we can get this little beauty to shine just a little better. We're going to work on the bolsters here just a little bit. And see if we can't get her shined up. I think it came out looking pretty good. I got our flits here. Of course, this came from our good friend of the channel, Howard. Thanks again, Howard, for the flits. Got a fresh pad on the Dremel here. And while we polish, we'll talk here just a little bit about Kabar and the history. Slow speed. So like a lot of cutlery companies, there's a lot of history of being bought and sold and consolidated with other companies. But this one here on the tang stamp says Cleveland. And the owner of Kabar, while they were in Cleveland, was Cole National. And in 1966, Robeson had owned Kabar, and they sold it to Cole National. Now, what I don't know is, did Cole National ever actually manufacture any knives in Cleveland, or if they were always sent overseas to be manufactured? Because I found one little note that someone believed that it was in the mid-70s Kabar had their knives made over in Japan. Well, from 66 to the mid-70s, does that mean they had them made in Hong Kong? I don't know. I cannot find any record of when these knives were made in Hong Kong. But I do know that in 1982, Cole National, I think they went bankrupt. And they ended up selling to a company called American Consumer Products. And then I think there was some other changing of the hands. And the latest info I have is that Kabar is currently owned by Cutco out of Olean, New York. So maybe that's not the most up to date. If anyone knows something different, please let me know. But, it's always hard to know with these companies. They keep getting bought and sold, bought and sold. Now, I still think they manufacture some of their models in Olean, but I do know I have one of the fixed blade hunting knives where they've outsourced it to China. So, you just never know. Stuff is always changing. But, having said all that, this is a little beauty right here. Just a little beauty. And it is cleaning up nicely. Got some dirty oil there, you can tell. Looks like that micarta has separated there just a little bit. Right there. Just takes a little bit of buffing here. Boy, what do you think of that? That sure looks a lot better than when we started, doesn't it? This is just a dandy addition to the collection. Yeah. Good snap. The only thing I really couldn't get is this little spot right here and here on those brass liners, because it's sitting down below this and it's hard to get down in there, but there is absolutely no rust on this. Look at down inside there. Just as clean as a whistle. Oh yeah. So here's a knife. We can date it at least from 1966 to 1982. I'm assuming it's the earlier part, 1966 to sometime in the 70s, but just don't know for sure. Again, drop a comment in there if you know a little more history on this during that time period when they were owned by Coal National. But yeah, one more fine example. Well, this kind of a medium, between the small and medium sized lockback knife. So until next time, have a very delightful day.